The RAFT here in St. Catharines is celebrating 25 years. We're here to talk to Michael Lethby, Executive Director, to find out more.
It started as a mission from St. George's Anglican, which is just downtown here in St. Catharines. A couple of the parishioners got together and decided that youth homelessness was an issue they wanted to tackle. So they started working with a number of the kids in the downtown, and very quickly they realized that the need was much greater than just a couple of kids. And so they actually brought the community around and started the RAFT. So that process started in '92, and the RAFT officially began in '94.
And why has it been important for teens?
Traditionally, what's sort of been felt is that, youth homelessness is something that belonged in the family. So it wasn't something that was talked about. Kids should just go home. Their place was at home. And so a lot of the kids, there weren't any real services available for kids downtown or anywhere. And so they would sort of just drift and become the unseen homeless.
Now, you're 25 years.
25 years.
Can you tell us a success story?
Yeah, it's been an amazing success story. Probably the biggest success we've had is actually when we moved into this shelter in 2007. We had almost 500 kids stay with us. So that's 500 individual kids staying in our shelter in 2008. And then last year we had 141. So we've seen a 70% reduction in youth homelessness since we've been doing our programming. So we're pretty proud of that.
What services do you offer?
We offer the shelter, which is here, which started off as a 24-bed shelter, but now we're down to an average of about 8 beds a night for the kids. Big piece of that is our prevention work, which we're nationally known for, and that's really working with schools to help identify kids before they become homeless. And it's great too for the rural community. So we noticed that when we sort of moved in here in 2007, we thought that a lot of the kids were actually from St. Catharines, and it turns out that a lot of the kids were actually coming in from places outside of the city.
Now, you've got a project going to raise funds. It's called the Orange Door Project. Let's talk about that. It's
actually the Home Depot's project. So the Home Depot, a number of years ago, about 5 years ago, decided that they were also going to take on youth homelessness. So they've been running a national campaign, which has been fantastic. I think it's our first sort of corporate sponsor that was directly related to our mission of ending youth homelessness. And so we actually painted the orange door of our shelter orange to represent the fact that this is a way out of homelessness.
Now, you'll get the money, and what will you use it for?
Yeah, so the majority of our money now goes to our prevention work. So working with kids before they become homeless, working with families to try and stop kids. Because really, youth homelessness isn't so much about the poverty or food scarcity or housing availability. It's really about breakdowns in families. And so a lot of our work goes to working with families to help ensure that they can sort of work it within the home so that the kids don't become homeless.
Now, what do you see for the next 25 years?
Well, I'd like to see our shelter close. That's kind of been our goal over the last decade, and so we're getting close. We have a number of different programs set in place where I'm hoping that we can reduce that 140 down to 0. I think there'll always be a need for some kind of shelter. There's always going to be crisis. There's always going to be something that comes up in the middle of the night on a weekend where you're not going to be able to supply supports. But I think we can reimagine how we deliver youth services and youth homeless services that isn't as institutional or as warehouse where we're sort of packing everybody into one building, into a bunch of rooms.
Congratulations to the RAFT on their 25 years. If you wish to contact them, visit theraft.ca. In St. Catharines, for The Source, I'm Brenda Schultz.